All right, let's talk about a really hard truth, one that millions of seniors unfortunately find out at the absolute worst possible time. And that truth is, Medicare does not cover everything. Actually, it's not even close. Finding this out while you're sitting there at the pharmacy counter or opening up a massive medical bill at your kitchen table, it's a terrible feeling. So in this explainer, we're going to dive right into the most common, surprisingly expensive medical needs that Medicare completely ignores. $6,800. Just think about that number for a second. Believe it or not, that is exactly what the average American senior spends out of pocket on healthcare every single year. And yes, that is even with Medicare. You might be wondering, how is that even possible? Well, it's because Medicare has some massive gaps. So today, we're going to map out exactly what those gaps are so you are never caught off guard.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be looking at 1, the Medicare coverage myth; 2, dental, vision, and hearing; 3, the million-dollar gaps; 4, prescriptions and everyday needs; and finally 5, 3 ways to get covered. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the Medicare coverage myth.
Now, don't get me wrong, Original Medicare, which is your Parts A and B, actually does a really fantastic job covering hospitals and specific doctor-administered treatments. But there are some glaring blind spots. Things like daily prescriptions, routine care, and long-term care, they are entirely missing from your standard coverage. These are major out-of-pocket blind spots for your everyday health needs.
Moving right along to Section 2, dental, vision, and hearing.
Okay, gap number 1 is dental care. Imagine waking up tomorrow with just this awful, throbbing toothache. Well, Medicare won't pay a single cent to help you out. No routine cleanings, no fillings, no root canals, and definitely no dentures. You are fully on the hook for your basic oral health. And the financial impact of this, it's honestly staggering. $3,500. That is the average starting cost of a full set of dentures in America. And honestly, it can easily push past $5,000. Even just a single root canal can drain $1,500 directly out of your savings. Next up, gap number 2 is vision care. And I've got to say, this one catches so many people completely by surprise. Medicare does not cover routine eye exams, prescription glasses, or contact lenses. Now, there is one single exception here. If you have a specific medical eye condition, think glaucoma or cataracts, Medicare will stop in and cover the treatment. But if your vision just naturally gets a bit worse with age and you need a new prescription, yep, you guessed it, you're paying for that yourself.
So what does that vision gap actually cost you? Well, a simple routine eye exam can run you about $250 out of pocket. And if you need a pair of prescription glasses to go with that exam, you can expect to pay anywhere from $200 to $600 more, all on your own.
Now, gap number 3 brings us to hearing aids. This is probably the absolute most expensive gap in this whole sensory bucket. There is literally zero coverage for the devices themselves, zero for the follow-up fittings, and zero for ongoing adjustments. Medicare just flat out does not cover them.
You might be wondering just how widespread this issue really is. Well, nearly 1 in 3 Americans over age 65 suffer from significant hearing loss. That means a massive portion of seniors require these devices just to maintain their everyday quality of life. Yet, they are left to foot the bill entirely on their own.
To put that into perspective, you're looking at a bill of about $4,600. Since a single hearing aid averages around $2,300 here in America, getting one for each ear means a massive $4,600 expense sitting squarely on your shoulders. Oh, and remember those follow-up fittings? They can add another $500 to $1,000 every single year. Let's brace ourselves for Section 3, the million-dollar gaps. This brings us to gap number 4, which relates to long-term care, specifically what's called custodial care. So what exactly is that? It's basically non-medical help with daily activities. Think bathing, dressing, eating, or using the bathroom. You see, Medicare will pay for short-term skilled nursing care right after a hospital stay, but only up to 100 days. But custodial care? When you simply can't do those everyday things on your own anymore, Medicare completely rejects it. The sheer scale of this cost is, well, it's terrifying. $116,800. That is the crushing reality of what an average private room in a nursing home costs for just one single year in America. And Medicare's contribution to that bill? Absolutely zero. Okay, moving on to Section 4, prescriptions and everyday needs. Gap number 5 is prescription drugs. It's a huge misconception. People just assume Medicare covers their medications, but Original Medicare does not cover your everyday home medications, like your daily blood pressure pills or cholesterol drugs. It only covers the drugs given to you while you're actually inside a hospital or a doctor's office. To get those daily home medications covered, you have to sign up for a totally separate Part D plan. And a quick warning here, if you don't do this when you're first eligible, you're going to face permanent lifetime penalties.
And the monthly financial drain here is very, very real. $500 without that Part D coverage plan, the average senior is spending $400 to $500 every single month entirely out of pocket on just everyday prescription medications.
And that builds right into this final bundle of costly gaps. Let's run through them quickly. Gap 6, cosmetic procedures and dental implants, which, by the way, can run $3,000 to $5,000 for just one tooth. Gap 7, medical care outside the USA. If you love to travel, you need to know you have absolutely no coverage abroad. And finally, Gap 8, routine foot care and alternative treatments, like acupuncture or visiting a chiropractor. None of that is covered under Original Medicare. Now for some good news. Section 5, 3 ways to get covered. Look, I know all those gaps sound incredibly intimidating, but don't worry. There are straightforward, actionable solutions to protect yourself. Option 1 is Medicare Advantage, which is also known as Part C. This is super popular because it gives you extra bundled benefits, like dental, vision, and hearing, and often no extra monthly cost beyond your standard Part B premium. Option 2 is a Medicare supplement, or a Medigap. This directly fills the financial gaps in Original Medicare, handling those pesky deductibles and even giving you some international emergency care for an extra premium. And Option 3, standalone plans. These are specific, highly affordable insurance policies you can buy just to fix those distinct dental or vision gaps we talked about. So, let's wrap this up with an ultimate mental checklist. Routine dental, routine vision, hearing aids, long-term care, daily prescriptions, cosmetics and implants, care outside the USA, and routine foot care. Medicare leaves a big red X right next to every single one of these. But hey, understanding this landscape, that is your absolute best defense against being caught off guard.
Which really brings us to our final, vital question. Is your life savings protected? Knowing about these 8 costly surprises is a fantastic first step. But the very next step is to actually take action. I highly recommend consulting a licensed advisor to help build your personal safety net and find the exact right combination of plans for your situation. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and please, take good care of yourself because you absolutely deserve it.